Welcome to the National Interstate Council of State Boards of Cosmetology's National Examination Overview. The National Interstate Council of State Boards of Cosmetology, also known as NIC, is a not-for-profit organization comprised of regulatory entities and their administrative representatives. NIC is the predominant national exam for licensing of cosmetologists, barbers, and related fields throughout the United States and its territories. NIC's mission is to promote and support uniformity of the practices of cosmetology and related fields for our members and national partners through testing, collaboration, and a national data repository. The objective is to discuss the candidate information bulletins, review expectations of candidates, and answer current examination questions. Our goal is to provide accurate and consistent information which assist educators, candidates, and states. The Candidate Information Bulletin, or CIB, is the governing resource for all NIC theory and practical examinations. Within the CIB is a list of each area being examined, called Content Domain Sections. There are core services sections in every exam and additional sections that a state may choose to add to the examinations for licensure. The practical CIB provides the candidate a list of the specific tasks they will need to demonstrate as they are being observed and scored. It also includes a list of suggested supplies the candidates may need. In addition to CIBs, the NIC website contains a reference list of all the textbooks utilized in the development of exams, practice exams for purchase, and the NIC blood exposure procedure. It is important that the candidates read the CIB thoroughly for all examination information. NIC recommends visiting your state board and/or examination vendor's website for the content and additional sections that are examined in your state. Security in the examination area is extremely important and strictly adhered to. Cellular phones, any watches, pagers, tablets, computers, projectors, cameras, or any other electronic or recording devices are absolutely prohibited anywhere inside the examination area. No exceptions. Purses, bags, coats, hats, and any other personal or professional items not listed in the CIB are not allowed. Printed or handwritten materials and/or any type of visual aids are strictly prohibited. If found, the proctor will handle per protocol. Talking or any other means of communicating between candidates is not tolerated. Candidates exhibiting disruptive behavior is prohibited. If this happens, the proctor will intervene. Other than giving verbal instructions listed on the CIB or for an emergency, proctors and examiners are not allowed to communicate with candidates. Candidates requesting information during the examination will be told one of the following statements. Do the best you can with what you have available. Do as you were taught. The above referenced items or actions are not an exhaustive list. Failure of the candidate to comply with any of these conditions or exhibiting any behavior that suggests an effort to cheat will result in the candidate's immediate dismissal from the examination. There are several common areas found in every exam. These involve the storage standards of the candidate's kit, how candidates operate in their workspace, how they handle their work area maintenance, appropriate disposal of items used throughout the exam, and demonstrating infection control standards. There are specific storage standards expected of each candidate. Candidates are expected to bring their own supply kit with a proper quantity of clean implements, supplies, and other materials needed to complete the examination. This is their storage area. The kit is to remain closed and stored under their work area except when removing materials for a particular service. Candidates may re-enter the kit at any time during the examination to remove necessary materials. However, Nothing may be returned to the kit during the examination. It is the candidate's responsibility to keep their work area safe for the duration of the exam. These photos are simply examples and not the only type of kit that could be used. The candidates are expected to understand that their kit is considered part of their workspace and they are to conduct themselves as if they were working in a salon. Much like a drawer or caddy in a salon, their kit contains clean supplies that are ready for use. Once an item is removed from the kit, it must be used and/or discarded in the appropriate manner, always following proper safety, sanitation, and disinfection procedures. If a candidate drops an item or product on the floor, that item must be picked up or the spill must be cleaned up immediately. Those items must be disposed of using proper infection control procedures prior to continuing their task. If a candidate should drop a necessary item, such as a curling iron, shears, or clippers, they may pick up the item, disinfect it with a wipe, and continue the procedure. This only pertains to those specific items. This does not include combs, brushes, etc. Candidates must supply their own water with enough to complete all areas of the examination. At the conclusion of the exam, candidates are responsible for cleaning their examination area and removing all supplies they used. Nothing may be left behind. Any problem with a candidate's supply kit, tools, or implements is not considered an emergency situation. Candidates will need to make sure their supplies and kit are ready for use and in working order. Each task line from the CIB is an assessment. Therefore, candidates are only evaluated on the tasks that are listed in the CIB. Candidates are examined on their ability to perform those tasks in a safe manner following infection control procedures that protect the public and themselves while maintaining a safe working area during all phases of the practical examination. Candidates will be evaluated on the disposal of all materials that are used throughout the examination. All items must be disposed of in a correct manner throughout each section. Candidates are required to bring and use 3 containers labeled individually as items to be disinfected, soiled linens, and trash. NIC recommends that the containers labeled items to be disinfected, soiled linens, and trash be a freestanding paper bag with a plastic liner. This is only a recommendation, not a requirement. We refer to this as the 3-container system. As a convenience to the candidate as well as the examiner, it is recommended to label the container visibly on all 4 sides. These photos are an example and not the only way a candidate can set up their workspace. When addressing infection control standards, it is important that candidates understand the following. All products and containers are considered multi-use. Products must be dispensed using infection control procedures. Candidates should not touch the tips of containers, and all containers must be closed after dispensing the product. All implements and tools must be visibly clean with no dirt or debris, no product residue, or any marks from prior use. All products must be clearly labeled in English. The labels must reflect the simulated product being used for that portion of the examination. The labeling on individual bags, containers, or products cannot outline the steps of a task or list the steps in order, and the bags cannot be numbered. Manufacturers' labels must have English. If a label is created, it can only contain English. During all phases of the examination, candidates must follow all appropriate public protection and infection control procedures while maintaining a safe work area. There are specific expectations of candidates when using mannequins or models. Please refer to your state and/or vendor for any state-specific guidelines regarding model or mannequin requirements. If your state requires the use of a model, be certain all the necessary documents are completed. If your state requires candidates to use a mannequin head and/or hand, they must be checked and approved at registration prior to admittance into the examination. Pre-marked or pre-sectioned mannequin heads are not allowed for any part of the practical examination. Mannequin hands must be an entire hand and cannot have removable digits. They may use a hand where the fingers spread out, but they cannot use a single finger. Unless specifically stated, tape, push pins, adhesive strips, etc. may not be applied to the mannequin to aid in holding items. There are common scoring areas found in every exam, and you will find them listed in each of the CIBs. This information will not be reviewed during each exam discipline. Please refer back to this section and the CIBs if you have any questions. Disinfection and sanitation is demonstrated using only disinfectant wipes that are labeled as EPA-registered bactericidal, virucidal, and fungicidal. Only those disinfectant wipes are allowed in the examination area. Aerosols or disinfectant sprays are not allowed. Wipes and hand sanitizer cannot be simulated. It must be the actual disinfectant wipe or hand sanitizer, and it must contain the original manufacturer's label. During all phases of the examination, candidates must follow all protection and infection control procedures and maintain a safe work area. Please note, as NIC exams are updated, candidates are required to wear gloves prior to and when using disinfectant wipes. This is in accordance with product usage recommendations. Please check the most current CIBs for this information. Maintaining the 3-container system is another common scoring area. Any dropped or spilled item must immediately be picked up and disposed of in the proper manner using infection control procedures prior to continuing their task. All items and supplies that are used must be disposed of properly throughout each section. Work area and initial setup is in each exam. The work area must be completely disinfected before the candidate sets up any items for use on the first client. New client setup is also in every examination. The work area is completely broken down, with all used items being disposed of properly. Any universal supplies that will be used again will need to be disinfected and the workspace completely disinfected before setting anything else up for the new client. When demonstrating proper draping, candidates may have a mannequin, a model, or a face with décolleté for aesthetics and waxing. The mannequin or model must be properly draped for the service. Safe practice around the eyes and mouth must be followed when working in and around these areas. Candidates are expected to demonstrate proper bracing techniques. Candidates will be expected to demonstrate a blood exposure procedure. The tasks are listed specifically in the CIBs, and candidates will be scored on these tasks. This is an example of proper draping for non-chemical services. There must be a towel or neck strip on the skin which is covered by a cape. The cape cannot touch the bare skin. If a cape starts slipping, candidates are expected to immediately adjust the cape and secure it. If it falls on the floor, it must be disposed of properly and a new cape applied. Here we have an example of proper draping for all chemical services where they must place a towel on the neck, cover with a chemical cape, and then cover the cape with a towel. The proper draping for aesthetic services includes a drape across the neck, décolleté, and a head covering must be in place. These photos are for example purposes only. Candidates must demonstrate safe practices around the eyes and mouth when applying makeup or working in these areas. This can be demonstrated by a single or a double brace. Please check on any state-specific guidelines for your state. These photos are only an example, as there are many ways to properly demonstrate bracing. In the event of a blood exposure incident, candidates will be expected to follow the NIC blood exposure procedure. Failure to do so may result in a candidate's dismissal from the examination. In each exam, the candidate will be instructed to demonstrate the blood exposure procedure. The candidate will be instructed that they or the client have sustained an injury. The candidate will stop the service. If the injury is on themselves, the candidate will put on gloves. If the injury is on the client, they do not have to wear gloves to go into the first aid kit, but they must first sanitize their hands. Following proper procedure, they will remove the materials they need from the first aid kit. The supplies that are removed need to be visibly clean. The first aid kit must be closed after removing supplies. The candidate will remove the glove or covering from the injury. The candidate will cleanse the injured area with an antiseptic. They will cover the injury with a secure and absorbent dressing. If they have been instructed that the injury is to themselves, they will need to apply a glove or finger guard before returning to the service. All used items and all contaminated items will need to be disposed of properly. Items may be placed directly into the trash or placed in a small bag and then placed in the trash. Do not place used items directly on the table. They should go into a bag or directly into the trash. Orange-red biohazard bags are not acceptable. Do not write biohazard on the bags. Do not use the biohazard label. Please do not send biohazard bags with candidates. Bringing them to an exam is an OSHA violation. Always check with your state and/or vendor for any state-specific guidelines regarding the blood exposure procedure. Regulation of our industry is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the consumer and the workforce. Professionals and their clients are exposed to different illnesses at any given time. Occupational cross-contamination can occur with skin-to-skin contact or when tools and implements used on a client with an infection are used on another client without sanitizing the tools or implements first. This creates an opportunity for bacteria and viruses to be transferred from person to person. Some examples are MRSA, HPV warts, herpes, and other blood-borne infectious diseases. Sanitation is a must, not an option. It is the responsibility of the candidate to follow all blood exposure, safety, sanitation, and infection control requirements throughout the exam. Barber 1 Practical Examination Core Sections. For hair cutting, candidates will need to perform a scalp analysis. They will demonstrate the safe use of the clippers and comb, with or without clipper guards or detachable blades. The candidate must also demonstrate the safe use of their shears and comb so as not to injure themselves or the client. They will establish an outline around the ears, blend, and complete the haircut. Candidates will be expected to shave the sides of the neck using a straight razor. This should include the reverse backhand stroke. The hair in front of the ear should be uniform in length. The examiners will check the completed haircut, which should be blended and cannot have a weight line. The candidate should have cut at least ½ inch of hair throughout. When the examiner has finished checking the haircut, the candidate will be asked to remove the hair from their work area. When demonstrating the shaving with a straight razor, candidates will lather the beard and mustache area and apply a steam towel to the face. The examiners will individually instruct candidates when to remove the towel, relather, and demonstrate the shave. They will demonstrate the freehand stroke in areas 1, 3, and 4, the backhand stroke in area 2, and the reverse freehand stroke in area 5. They will then demonstrate the finishing steps of the service. Barber 1 Additional Services. In Barber 1 Section 6, the candidate must cleanse the entire face with a cleanser, making sure they cleanse the eyes and lips. A wet steam towel must be used and removed. They will demonstrate the facial massage using at least 3 massage movements. Then they will complete the facial. In Barber 1, Section 7, the candidate will demonstrate a scalp massage using at least 3 types of scalp massage movements. For Barber 1, Section 8, the candidate will demonstrate a blow-dry style in one front quadrant or section. Starting with wet hair and using a brush, they will need to show the safe use of a blow dryer and how to control the hair with a brush. The final result of the blow-dry styling will be assessed. In Barber 1, Section 9, candidates will demonstrate forming 2 curls on the top of the head and 2 curls on one side of the head in a front quadrant or section. The curls must be formed from the base to ends. The candidate will subsection the hair, test the temperature of the iron, and demonstrate safe use of the iron during this procedure. The final appearance of the curls will be assessed. Barber styling practical core sections. When demonstrating hair cutting, candidates will need to perform a scalp analysis and then perform a tapered haircut having no blocked line at the nape. Next, they will demonstrate clipper cutting with and without a guard or detachable blade, and demonstrate finger and shear cutting as well as shear over comb cutting. The candidate is expected to establish an outline around the ears, blend, and complete the haircut. Finally, they will be expected to shave the sides of the neck using a straight razor, and this should include the reverse backhand stroke. The haircut must be uniform in length at the sides, blended, and not have a weight line. The candidate should have removed at least ½ inch of hair throughout. When the examiner has finished checking the haircut, the candidate will be asked to remove the hair from their work area. For shaving with a straight razor, candidates will lather the beard and mustache area. They will apply a steam towel to the face. The examiners will individually instruct candidates when to remove the towel, relather, and begin to demonstrate the shave. They will need to demonstrate the freehand stroke in areas 1, 3, and 4, the backhand stroke in area 2, and the reverse freehand stroke in area 5. They will then demonstrate the finishing steps of the shave service. When demonstrating chemical waving, the candidate will perform a scalp analysis and wrap the entire center back section from crown to nape. They will demonstrate correct subsectioning and rod placement in the designated section. Once they are done wrapping the hair, they will need to step back until they are given the next instructions. These photos are examples of proper wrapping, subsectioning, and rod placement. These photos are only examples. Once all candidates have stepped back, the examiners will individually ask the candidate to demonstrate saturation, a test curl, and the removal of one rod from the head. When all candidates have been assessed, the proctor will instruct all candidates to remove the remaining rods from the head. The first photo shows a completed wrap, and the second is demonstrating saturation. The last is demonstrating a test curl. They will demonstrate removing one rod. These photos are only examples. Candidates will demonstrate the predisposition test and strand test. The predisposition test is demonstrated behind the ear, cleansing and drying the area before applying the simulated product. Next, candidates will demonstrate the strand test. The strand test may be performed on any isolated subsection of hair. When demonstrating the chemical relaxer virgin application, candidates must subsection the hair correctly and apply the simulated relaxer product following the proper process. They will need to demonstrate smoothing. For the hair color retouch application, a candidate will subsection the hair for a hair color retouch and apply a simulated color product. They will be assessed on the results of the retouch application. These photos are only examples of the hair color retouch application. Barber Stylist Additional Services. In Barber Styling Section 10, Cleansing Facial with Massage, a candidate must cleanse the entire face with a cleanser, making sure they cleanse the eyes and lips. A wet steam towel must be applied and removed. They will demonstrate the facial massage using at least 3 massage movements and complete the facial. In Barber Styling Section 11, when demonstrating the scalp massage, a candidate must use at least 3 types of scalp massage movements. For Barber Styling Section 12, blow-dry styling, the candidate will demonstrate, starting with wet hair, in one front quadrant or section using a brush. They will show the safe use of the blow dryer and controlling the hair with a brush. The final result of the blow-drying styling will be assessed. In Barber Styling Section 13, Thermal Curling, the candidates will form 2 curls on the top of the head and 2 curls on one side of the head in a front quadrant or section. The candidate must test the temperature of the iron and subsection the hair for thermal curling, and the curls must be formed from base to ends. They will demonstrate the safe use of the iron during the procedure, and the final appearance of curls will be assessed. In Barber Styling Section 14, the candidate will demonstrate highlighting with foil in the front quadrant or section beginning from the front hairline to the apex. They will apply product from the upper edge of the foils to hair ends. They must subsection the hair for highlighting and demonstrate correct foil placement. The examiner will assess the result of the foils. Cosmetology Practical Core Sections. For thermal curling, candidates will form 4 curls on the top of the head. They will demonstrate checking the temperature of the iron and safe use of the iron. They will use the proper subsections for thermal curling, and the final appearance of the 4 curls will be assessed. In hair cutting, candidates will perform a basic layered haircut, removing 1 inch of hair throughout. They will be demonstrating proper subsectioning, safe use of the shears and razor with a guard on the razor. The final appearance of the haircut will be assessed, and the candidate will be instructed to remove the hair from their work area. At least 1 inch of hair should be removed throughout. In chemical waving, the candidate will subsection and wrap the entire back section of the head from crown to nape. Correct rod and band placement must be used throughout the section. The candidate needs to demonstrate proper subsectioning, wrapping, and rod placement. These photos are only examples. The candidate will be asked individually by an examiner to demonstrate saturation on the first 3 rods and then demonstrate a test curl. Once all candidates have demonstrated saturation and a test curl, the proctor will instruct all candidates to remove all rods from the head and to create 5 sections for the remaining chemical services. The first photo shows a completed wrap. The second is demonstrating saturation, and the last is demonstrating a test curl. These photos are only examples. Candidates will need to demonstrate the predisposition test and strand test appropriately. The predisposition test is demonstrated behind the ear, cleansing and drying the area before applying the simulated product. Candidates will demonstrate the strand test. The strand test may be performed on any isolated subsection of hair. When demonstrating highlighting with foil, the candidate will begin at the front hairline to the apex, applying product from the upper edge of foils to the hair ends, and place 4 foils correctly. The examiner will assess the results of the foils. The candidate will subsection the hair for a hair color retouch. They will apply a simulated color product and will be assessed on the final appearance of the retouch application. These photos are only examples of the hair color retouch application. Candidates must prepare for the relaxer application, apply a simulated relaxer product appropriately, and demonstrate the proper smoothing technique. Cosmetology Additional Services. For Cosmetology Section 11, the candidate will demonstrate a blow-dry style, starting with wet hair on the top of the head and on one side of the head using a brush. They will need to show safe use of blow-drying and controlling the hair with a brush. The final results of the blow-dry styling will be assessed. For Cosmetology Section 12, candidates will subsection the hair for roller placement. They will wrap the hair around the rollers, placing the first roller on base, the second roller half base, and the third roller off base. They are instructed to remove all rollers and to brush the hair straight back. In Cosmetology Section 13, the candidate will cleanse the entire face, apply an astringent or a toner, and then demonstrate exfoliation with product and an implement or material. They will steam the face with a towel and remove any residual product completely. They will demonstrate the facial massage procedure using 4 different types of facial massage movements. They will apply a facial mask and apply a moisturizer and/or sun protection. Here is an example of a facial massage. For Cosmetology Section 14, candidates will prepare for the soft wax and tweezing procedure on one eyebrow. They will be instructed to demonstrate the soft wax application and removal process. Next, they will be instructed to demonstrate the tweezing procedure by removing 3 hairs and conclude the service. The soft wax and tweezing are demonstrated on the same eyebrow. These photos are only examples. For the Cosmetology Section 15, candidates will demonstrate the hard wax procedure on the upper lip using real wax. They will prepare for the wax procedure and demonstrate hard wax application and removal on the entire upper lip and then conclude the procedure. In Cosmetology Section 16, candidates will apply foundation to cover the face and then apply powder, blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, and lip color. Candidates must demonstrate bracing when working around the eyes and mouth. Disposable applicators must be used with mascara, lip color, powder, or liquid eyeliner. In Cosmetology Section 17, the candidate will shape the nails to a uniform length and shape and cleanse the mannequin's nails in a bowl of water. They will prepare the cuticles, clean and buff the nails, and then perform at least 2 different types of massage movements on the entire hand. They will prepare the nails and apply a base coat, polish, and a top coat to all nails. Candidates will be assessed on the final appearance of the manicure and polish. Candidates will remove the nail polish when instructed. These photos are only examples of some of the manicure and polish steps. For Cosmetology Section 18, candidates will be assigned a specific finger to perform the nail tip application and blending. The candidate will prepare the nail plate for application and apply a full well tip to the assigned finger. They will shape, blend, and finish the nail tip. The examiners will check the final appearance of the nail tip application and blending. In Cosmetology Section 19, the candidate must use a low-odor, less-odor monomer for the sculptured nail. Please check with your state or exam vendor if your state requires the use of a manufacturer's sealed product. Monomer, polymer, and primer must be in the original manufacturer's container. The candidate will prepare the nail plate and sculpt a nail to extend beyond the free edge of the assigned finger. Examiners will assess the final appearance of the sculptured nail. These photos are examples of some steps in the sculptured nail procedure. Aesthetics Practical Core Services. The candidate will cleanse the entire face, performing exfoliation using an implement or material. Candidates need to hold eye and lip when working around those areas. They will steam the face with a towel and completely remove any residual product. The candidate will demonstrate 4 different facial massage movements, a facial mask, and conclude the service. This is an example of the facial. The candidate will demonstrate hair removal of the eyebrow using soft wax along the entire length of one eyebrow. They will be instructed to remove 3 hairs by tweezing on the same eyebrow and then complete the service. The soft wax and tweezing are demonstrated on the same eyebrow. For the facial makeup section, candidates will apply foundation to cover the face, apply powder, blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, and lip color. The candidate must demonstrate bracing while working around the eyes and mouth. They must use disposable applicators for eyeliner, mascara, and lip color. Aesthetics Additional Services. In Aesthetics Section 7, the candidate will apply a degreaser prep solution and demonstrate the particle microdermabrasion procedure using horizontal and vertical strokes across the entire forehead, then conclude the service. Candidates will need to make sure they bring a simulated microdermabrasion handpiece with a 4-foot cord attached. In Aesthetics Section 8, the candidate will perform a patch test. The candidate prepares the client and the eyelash band for enhancement. They will demonstrate the eyelash application procedure. The final appearance of the eyelash application will be assessed by the examiner on both eyes. For Aesthetics Section 9, candidates will demonstrate the hard wax procedure on the upper lip using real wax. They will prepare for the wax procedure and demonstrate hard wax application and removal on the entire upper lip and conclude the hair removal procedure. Nail Technology Practical Exam. For the manicure and polish, the candidate will perform a basic manicure by preparing the nails and applying nail polish. The final appearance of the manicure and polish application will be assessed by the examiner. These photos are examples of steps in the manicure and polish application. For nail tip application and blending, candidates will be assigned a finger to perform the nail tip application and blending. The candidate will prepare the nail for application. They will apply a full well tip to the assigned finger, trim, shape, and blend the nail tip. The examiners will check the final appearance of the finished nail tip. In the sculptured nail, a candidate must use a low odor, less odor monomer. Please check with your state or exam vendor if your state requires the use of a manufacturer's sealed product. Monomer, polymer, and primer must be in the original manufacturer's container. The candidate will prepare the nail plate and sculpt a nail to extend beyond the free edge of the assigned finger. Examiners will assess the final appearance of the sculptured nail. These photos are examples of steps in the sculptured nail. For the removal of the sculptured nail, the candidate will remove the sculptured nail by soaking in a bowl or using a wrap. They will smooth and finish the natural nail. The examiner will assess the final appearance of the sculptured nail removal. These are some examples of the steps in the removal of the sculptured nail. Hair Design Practical Core. For thermal curling, candidates will form 2 curls on the top of the head and 2 curls on one side of the head. Candidates will check the temperature of the iron and demonstrate safe use of the iron. They will use the proper subsections for thermal curling, and the final appearance of the 4 curls will be assessed. In hair cutting, the candidates will perform a basic layered haircut, removing 1 inch of hair throughout. They will demonstrate proper subsectioning and safe use of the razor and shears. They must cut the entire nape to a uniform length, and the sides must be uniform in length. The entire cut must be blended. The final appearance of the haircut will be assessed, and the candidate will be instructed to remove the hair from their work area. Here are some examples of safe use of comb and shears. During the chemical waving, the candidate will subsection and wrap the entire back section of the head from crown to nape. Correct rod and band placement must be used throughout the section. The candidate will demonstrate proper subsectioning, wrapping, and rod and band placement. These are only examples. Next, the candidate will be asked to demonstrate saturation on the first 3 rods, demonstrate a test curl, and remove 1 rod. The proctor will instruct the candidates to remove all remaining rods from the head and create 5 sections for the remaining chemical services. The first photo shows a completed wrap. The second is demonstrating saturation, and the last is demonstrating a test curl. These photos are only examples. Candidates will need to demonstrate the predisposition test and strand test appropriately. The predisposition test is demonstrated behind the ear, cleansing and drying the area before applying the simulated product. Candidates will demonstrate the strand test. The strand test may be performed on any isolated subsection of hair. For highlighting with foil, virgin application, the candidate will subsection the hair for highlighting with foils and place 4 foils from the front hairline to the apex. They will demonstrate applying product from the upper edge of foils to the hair ends. They must demonstrate correct foil placement. The examiner will assess the final result of the foils. For the hair color retouch, the candidate will subsection the hair and apply a simulated color product. The final appearance of the retouch application will be assessed. For the virgin hair relaxer, candidates will prepare for the relaxer application, apply a simulated relaxer product, and use the correct product placement, finishing by demonstrating smoothing. Hair design additional services. In Hair Design Section 11, the candidate will demonstrate a blow-dry style, starting with wet hair on the top of the head and on one side of the head. They will need to show safe use of a blow dryer and how they control the hair with a brush. The final results of the blow-dry styling will be assessed. In Hair Design Section 12, the candidate will subsection the hair for roller placement. They will wrap the hair around the rollers, placing the first roller on base, the second roller half base, and the third roller off base. The examiners will assess the final appearance of the rollers. They are instructed to remove all rollers and to brush the hair straight back. For Hair Design Section 13, the candidates will be performing a skip wave by using finger waving and pin curls. The hair will be parted off-center and the skip wave, with at least 4 pin curls, will be on the heavy side of the part. They will need to form a ridge shaping and create the pin curls. Examiners will assess the final appearance of the skip wave. Hair removal practical. These procedures are performed on a live model. For hair removal with tweezing and soft wax, the candidates will be instructed to demonstrate the tweezing procedure on one eyebrow. The candidate will be instructed to demonstrate application, removal, and conclusion of the soft wax procedure on the other eyebrow. They must brace while working around the eyes. In hair removal on the lower leg, the candidate will demonstrate the soft wax application and removal process on the entire front of one lower leg, including the knee, and then conclude the hair removal service. For hair removal on the upper lip, the candidate will demonstrate the hard wax application and removal process on the entire upper lip and then conclude the hair removal procedure. For hair removal on the underarm, Candidates will demonstrate the hard wax application and removal process on the entire underarm and then conclude the hair removal procedure. Hair removal additional services. Hair removal section 8. The candidates will demonstrate the hand-applied sugar paste application process on the entire underarm area that has not been previously treated. They will demonstrate the sugar paste removal process and then conclude the sugaring procedure. For hair removal section 9, the candidate will demonstrate hair removal of the eyebrow by threading on the entire length of the eyebrow that was not previously waxed. Once they have performed threading, they will conclude the procedure. Instructor practical. In the lesson plan, the candidate will provide 2 copies of the theory lecture and demonstration lesson plans to the proctor. They will keep 1 copy for themselves. The examiner will review the lesson plan. For the classroom theory lecture, the candidate will present their theory lecture on the assigned topic. They will set up their area and introduce the topic and content of the lecture, including the blood exposure procedure. They will demonstrate the use of teaching aids, communication skills, and classroom interaction, then conclude the lecture. In the demonstration, the candidate will set up the area for their demonstration on the assigned topic. They will introduce the demonstration and the content. They will perform the demonstration and the blood exposure procedure. They will be observed for classroom interaction and the close of the demonstration. Natural hairstyling practical. For the extension to visible cornrow braid, the candidate will place a visible cornrow braid extension at the front hairline. They will extend the hair no more than 6 inches beyond the natural hair length and add the extension hair to the cornrow braid. The examiner will assess the final appearance of the extension to visible cornrow braid. Here are some examples of extension to visible cornrow braid picture. For the invisible cornrow braid, the candidate will perform an invisible cornrow braid at the front hairline. The examiner will assess the final appearance of the invisible cornrow braid. In the extension to individual braid, the candidate will place an individual braid extension at the front hairline. They will not extend the hair more than 6 inches beyond the natural hair length. The examiner will assess the final appearance of the extension to individual braid and then instruct the candidate to remove the extension. The candidate will be asked to remove any remaining braids and brush the hair back. Here are some photos of extension to individual braid. For the horizontal braid for sew-in, the candidate will create a horizontal braid between the occipital and the nape from ear to ear. The examiner will assess the final appearance of braid and instruct the candidate to apply oil. For the sew-in weft method, the candidate will demonstrate a sew-in weft attachment and shaping. They will attach the weft of hair to the length of the horizontal braid by sewing it in and shaping the free ends. The examiner will assess the final appearance of the weft and then instruct the candidate to remove the weft. Candidates will be instructed to remove the hair from their work area. Natural hair additional services. In Natural Hair Section 9, the candidate will perform a spiral rod set using end papers. They will place 4 rods on the side of the head. The examiners will assess the final appearance of the spiral rod set and then instruct the candidate to remove the remaining rods from the head and brush the hair back. Here are examples of a spiral rod set. For Natural Hair Section 10, the candidate will demonstrate a blow-dry style, starting with wet hair on one side of the head using a pick comb attachment. They will need to show safe use of a blow dryer and controlling the hair with the pick comb. The examiner will assess the final appearance of the blow-dry styling. In natural hair section 11, the candidate will straighten the hair from crown to nape. They will demonstrate checking the temperature and safe use of the iron. They will use the proper subsections for flat iron styling, and the final appearance of the flat ironing will be assessed. Electrology Practical. Check with your state or vendor if they are using the COVID variations of this exam. Those CIBs are available through your state or vendor and are also found on the NIC website. Candidates will be examined one-on-one using a live model for these exams. In their molysis, the candidate will demonstrate on the upper lip. If using the COVID variation, it will be demonstrated on the eyebrow. They will prepare their model for the service, then demonstrate their molysis on the designated area, working for the full 10 minutes. They will demonstrate safe use of implements and equipment. The examiner will assess the model's skin after treatment. For the blend method, the candidate will demonstrate on the leg, working for 10 minutes. They will prepare their model and demonstrate the safe use of implements and equipment while performing the blend method. The examiner will assess the model skin after treatment. In demonstrating the galvanic method, the candidate will perform this service on the arm. They will prepare the model and demonstrate hair removal using galvanic current, working for the full 10 minutes, while demonstrating safe use of implements and equipment. The examiner will assess the model's skin after treatment. For the cataphoresis, candidates will demonstrate on an area previously treated by the galvanic method. Candidates will demonstrate working the full 10 minutes. Advanced Aesthetics Practical. For cleansing of the face, the candidate will cleanse the eye and lip area completely, distributing cleanser over the face. They will remove any residual makeup and cleanser and apply a toner or astringent. In manual lymphatic drainage, the candidate will apply massage product and demonstrate slow, stationary circles with pads of fingers between thyroid cartilage and sternocleidomastoid muscle for at least 1 minute on both sides of the neck simultaneously. They will demonstrate slow, stationary circles with pads of fingers between earlobe and masseter muscle for 1 minute on both sides of the face simultaneously. They will place the pads of the fingers flat over the eyebrows, curl the fingertips below the eyebrows, and massage the supraorbital ridge for 1 minute simultaneously. They will conclude the service by removing any residual massage product. For particle microdermabrasion, the candidate will demonstrate particle microdermabrasion on the forehead using horizontal and vertical strokes. They will apply a degreaser prep solution, dry the excess moisture, and apply eye protection to the model. The candidate will wear eye protection and a mask that covers the nose and mouth. The candidate will wear gloves. The candidate will hold the skin taut and demonstrate vertical and horizontal strokes across the entire forehead with a simulated handpiece. A 4-foot cord must be attached to the handpiece at all times. The candidate concludes the service. In the LED treatment, the candidate will demonstrate an LED treatment on the entire face. They will apply a degreaser prep solution and dry any excess moisture. They will apply eye protection to the model. They will hold the handpiece so light strikes the skin, moving the light around the face and pausing to ensure the entire face is treated. A 4-foot cord must be attached to the handpiece throughout the procedure. They will apply a sunscreen to the model's face and will be instructed to break down their work area. This treatment is usually simulated by a small flashlight with a 4-foot cord attached. The light must strike the face, so be sure to have a working light source. For ultrasonic treatment, the candidate will demonstrate on the forehead and upper lip. They will attach a wristband to the mannequin by placing it on the station near the mannequin. They will apply ear protection by placing it next to the mannequin's ears and apply eye protection to the mannequin. They will apply solution to the area being treated and then perform horizontal and vertical strokes across the forehead. They will perform strokes in a downward motion across the upper lip. A 4-foot cord must be attached to the handpiece throughout the demonstration. The candidate will remove any residual product. The candidate will demonstrate a beta-hydroxy acid treatment on the entire face. The candidate will wear gloves, apply a degreaser prep solution, and apply an occlusive barrier. They will apply eye protection to the model and apply the BHA solution to the entire face. Then they will neutralize the treatment area. They will be instructed to remove the remaining residue from the face. The candidate will demonstrate a microcurrent treatment on the upper orbicularis oculi. They will apply a conducting gel or lotion, moisten the conductors, and begin treatment at the corrugator moving toward the outer area of the eyebrow. A 4-foot cord must be attached to the handpiece. They will apply a sunscreen to the face. For the body treatment, the candidate will demonstrate dry exfoliation and a mud mask. They will dry exfoliate the décolleté. They will apply a mask and wrap the area. They will unwrap the model, remove the mask with a steam towel, and complete the service. Blow-dry styling practical. In blow-dry styling, the candidate will demonstrate on the entire head. They will start with wet hair, and the style must have a smooth finish with beveled ends. They will demonstrate safe use of the blow dryer and control of the hair with a round brush and a vented paddle brush. Examiners will assess the final results of blow-dry styling. For the flat ironing, the candidate will straighten the hair on the entire back of the head from crown to nape. They will demonstrate checking the temperature and safe use of the iron. They will use the proper subsections for flat iron styling, and the final appearance of the flat ironing will be assessed. In thermal curling, the candidate will form 3 curls from the crown forward. They will form 1 on base curl, 1 half base curl, and 1 off base curl. A complete curl must be formed from base to ends. They will demonstrate checking the temperature and safe use of the iron. They will use the proper subsections for thermal curling, and the final appearance of the 3 curls will be assessed. Blow-dry styling additional services. For blow-dry styling section 7, the candidate will perform a skip wave by using finger waving and pin curls. The hair will be parted off-center, and the skip wave with at least 4 pin curls will be on the heavy side of the part. They will need to form a ridge shaping and create the pin curls. Examiners will assess the final appearance of the skip wave. This concludes the NIC examination overview. As a reminder, please check with your state or examination vendor for any questions, clarifications, and for all state-specific examination information. They will provide you with the information you will need to test in your state. Remember to review the CIBs for examination information. CIBs can be found at www.nictesting.org.